Now let's move to the general rules. How do we make these changes? Now rule 1. If reporting verb is in present or future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech does not change. Examples. Now see, you already know what the reporting verb is. So the first thing while converting a direct speech into indirect speech is to observe the tense of the reported verb. So reporting verb, sorry. So now direct speech, for example, is Ravi says, I am fond of tea. Now what is the reporting verb here? Says. What is the tense of the reporting verb? It is present tense. So now we will not, because the reporting verb is in present tense, we will not change the tense of the reported speech. Ravi says that he is fond of tea. Now see, I am fond of tea. This is simple present tense. He is fond of tea is again simple present tense. We will not change the tense of the reported speech if the reporting verb is in present tense. Let's take another example. The teacher says Ram will not pass. Now the reporting verb here is again says. What is the tense? It is present. So are we going to change the tense of the reported speech? No. The tense of the reported speech will not change. The teacher says that Ram will not pass. Clear? The reported speech is in simple future tense. It will remain the same. Why? Because the reporting verb is in present tense. The girls say, we have done our best. Again, the reporting verb here is say. It is again present tense. So we will not change the tense of the reported speech. Here the tense of the reported speech is we have done our best. It is present perfect. It will remain present perfect. The girls say that they have done their best. It remains present perfect tense. Last example, he will say, I was busy. Now here the reporting verb is will say. It is future. Again, the rule says that if the reporting verb is in present or future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech does not change. So it will remain the same. Will say is future tense. So the indirect becomes he will say that he was busy. Clear? So it remains, the tense remains the same. Here it is past simple. Here again it remains in indirect speech also it remains past simple. Moving on to the next rule. Rule 2. It says if reporting verb is in past tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech changes in the following ways. Again, you have to be very observant about the tense of the reporting verb. If the reporting verb is in past tense, simple present tense, and reported speech is in simple present tense, it will change into simple past tense. If the reported speech is in present continuous tense, will change into past continuous. Present perfect will change into past perfect. Present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous. Simple past changes into past perfect. Now please understand, simple past and present perfect both change into past perfect tenses. Now past continuous changes into past perfect continuous tense. Now past perfect and past perfect continuous tense will not change. In future, usually we use shall or will. Your shall and will change into would and should. Okay, let's move on to few examples. Example 1, the direct sentence. He said, I go for a walk. Now, if we see the reporting verb, it is in past. Said is the past, right? So, what is the tense of the reported speech? I go for a walk. It is simple present tense. Now, because the reporting verb is in past tense, the tense of the reported speech will change. Since the tense of the reported speech is simple present changes into simple past. He said that he went for a walk. He said that. That as such we have to introduce, we use this conjunction to introduce the reported speech. So that has to be used. He said that I go for a walk changes into he went for a walk. Go changes into went. Sam said, I am studying daily. Now this is present continuous tense. Reporting verb is again past tense. So present continuous tense of the reported speech changes into past continuous tense. Sam said that he was studying daily. The student said, I have done my homework. Again, said, the reporting verb is in past tense, so we have to change the tense of the reported speech. I have done my homework. Present perfect changes into, we have to change it into past perfect. The student said that he had done his homework. Present perfect changes into past perfect. She said, I have been studying since morning. Present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous tense changes into past perfect continuous tense. She said that she had been studying since morning. He said, I went there in the morning. Simple past. Simple past will change into past perfect. He said that he had gone there in the morning. The teacher said the boys were doing their sums. Now this is past continuous. Past continuous changes into past perfect continuous. The teacher said that the boys had been doing their sums. The lady said, I had lived in this house during my childhood. Now this is past perfect. Although here the reporting verb is in past, right? But past perfect, as we saw earlier, the past perfect remains unchanged. So the lady said that she had lived in that house during her childhood. Past perfect tense will remain past perfect tense. There will be no change. He said, Asha had been dancing. Again, past perfect continuous. Now, past perfect continuous will again, there will be no change in past perfect continuous tense. So, he said that Asha had been dancing. There will be no change in the tense of the reported speech. He said, I shall play football next year. Now, shall will change into would or should. He said that he would play football next year. He said, shall I go? Now see, this is sort of a question, right? He said, shall I go? Shall changes into should. He asked if he should go. Now, another point to note in this example is the interrogative question mark has gone and it has been replaced with full stop. So now there's one exception to this rule which we have just discussed. The exception is if reported speech contains some universal or habitual fact, the simple present is not changed into corresponding simple past in indirect speech but remains unchanged. Let's see an example. The teacher said, honesty is the best policy. Now, honesty is the best policy is a universal fact, right? It's a universal, or you can say habitual fact. So the teacher said, although here said is the reporting verb, it is in the past tense. Despite that, we are not going to change the tense of the reported speech. Reason being, it is a universal fact. The teacher said that honesty is the best policy. Okay, moving on to rule number 3. The rule says pronouns of first. Now, this is the rule which tells us how the pronouns change while converting a direct speech into indirect speech. You must have observed in the previous examples also, you must have observed that we have made certain changes in the pronouns. So here is how we make those changes. Pronouns of first and second person in direct speech are changed into third person in indirect speech, taking into account the gender of the person. Pronouns of the first person. What are the pronouns of the first person? I, my, me, mine, we, our, us, ours. These are all first person pronouns. Pronouns of first person changes according to the person and gender of the subject of the reporting verb. Let's take an example. The boy said, I have completed my work. Now, the boy is the subject. I and my. These are the two pronouns which have been used in this reported speech. How will these pronouns change? Now, the boy is a subject and it is masculine and singular. We have to keep the person and the gender of the subject into consideration. So the boy is masculine and it is singular, right? So it will be changed in this way. I will change into he. My will change into his. Okay, this he and his depends upon the person and gender of the subject, that is the boy. So the sentence becomes, the indirect speech becomes, the boy said that he had completed his work. The girl said, our father is a doctor. Now the subject is the girls. And as we have seen that changing pronouns depends upon the person and gender of the subject. So the person and gender of the subject, we can say it is gender is feminine and the person is plural, right? So the subject is feminine and plural. So are is the pronoun. So are will change into their. The girls said that their father was a doctor. I'm not going to say the girls said that her father was a doctor, because girls, it is plural. So the pronoun has to change accordingly. The girls said that their father was a doctor. Next, the pronouns of the second person. What are the pronouns of second person? You, your, yours. Second person pronouns changes according to person and gender of the subject of the reporting verb. Sorry, object of the reporting verb. Now here we have to keep object into consideration. For example, Ram said to them. Now what is the subject? Ram is the subject. What is the object? Ram said to them. So them is the object. You are sincere. So now this you is the pronoun. You refers to them. Is it clear? You refers to them. So you is second person pronoun. Now it becomes Ram told them that they were sincere. See, you changes into they. Now why? Because this you refers to them. Clear? So this in indirect sentence also, this they, you will change into they, and they refers to them, actually the object of the speech. The teacher said to Sohan, you have not done well. Now what's the subject? Teacher is the subject. What is the object? Teacher said to whom? Sohan. So Sohan is the object of the verb, of the reporting verb. Now what is the pronoun? Here we have second person pronoun you, right? So it will change according to the object. Object is Sohan. Sohan is male and singular. So it will become, the teacher told Sohan that he had not done well. Now see, I've not changed it into the teacher told Sohan that they had not done well. Why? Because we have to keep the object of the reported verb in consideration, and object is male and singular. Correspondingly, the pronoun he, okay, it has to correspond to the object, that is Sohan. That is why we have used he. I hope it is clear. Now, the pronouns of the third person do not change. Pronouns of third person. What is the third person? Now, Hari said to me, she is not well. Now, Hari is the subject, me is the object, and she, we are talking about somebody else, some third person. That is she. She is not well. So she is the third person pronoun, right? So the rule says that pronouns of the third person do not change. How do we convert it? Hari told me that she was not well. So she remains she, because she here does not refer to Hari. She here does not refer to me. She here refers to some third person we are talking about. Clear? So it will remain unchanged. I said to him, they are good boys. I is the subject, him is the object, and they is the third person pronoun. So it will remain unchanged. I told him that they were good boys. So last rule, rule number 4. Words expressing nearness in time or place are changed into words expressing distance. So here you need to understand that now changes into then, come changes into go, here changes into there, today becomes that day, thus becomes so, yesterday becomes the previous day, this becomes that, tonight changes into that night, these changes into those, last night changes into previous night, hither changes into the thither, tomorrow becomes the next day, hence becomes thence, ago becomes before, bring becomes take. So let us have a look at few examples. The teacher said, I'm busy now. Now becomes, the teacher said that she was busy then. He said, it may rain tomorrow. He said that it might rain the next day. He said, last night I met him. He said that he had met him the previous night. He said, I met this man 2 days ago. He said that he had met that man 2 days before. Rahul said, I will watch horror movie tonight. Rahul said that he would watch horror movie that night.